Today I'm doing the voiceover as I'm working because it's going to be a lot easier to explain than me remembering what I talked about and what I did. Alright, so I received a question from a reader the other day, and she was saying that she's having trouble with stencils and that she's having trouble with bleeding under her stencils. And I figured that I would just go ahead and do a complete walkthrough of several different ways that you can prevent this from happening. So let's first talk about the different kinds of stencils. You have super detailed 6x6 stencils. Then you have some less detailed stencils, and these tend to be a little bit thicker, as you can hear. This one doesn't have, you can't even hear it. And then you have some that are kind of in between. And then you have layering stencils. And you have stencils that come in all shapes and sizes. So we're going to start with this one first. For something like this, on my 4 by 4¼ by 5½ inch card panel, we have a super shiny side and we kind of have a matte side. And I usually go for the shiny side as the back side on these, and that's just my personal preference. You can do either side, but then I will line it up on the back where I want my pattern to be, and I will use washi tape to tape it down. And the only tape I can get my hands on at the moment is black, so we'll just do this. And I make sure that it's taped all the way around really well, because no matter what you do, it's there. You can tape it at the bottom, you can tape it at the top, you can tape it on all 4 sides. I usually tape one side down really well at least. And then tape down the other 3 sides, not quite as much. So now we have a work surface that we can do some ink blending on, and we're not going, well, get on in there. There we go. And you can go the extra step depending on your work surface. You can go the extra step of taping down your stencil to your work surface if you want to as well. And when it comes time to take it off, start in the corner and peel the stencil away from the paper. Okay, if you want to mix a color with your like glossy texture pastes or clear texture paste, don't mix it with a water-based ink, because that will run under your stencil. Oh, trash. No. So I'm using alcohol ink, and I'm just shaking it up a little bit, put in a drop, and then I'll mix it up. And then I'm able to spread that out. And distress ink will actually bleed into the paper if you mix it with something like that. So you see the bleeds around there. And it's a water-based ink and a water-based medium. So that's why I said, let's see if we can't prevent that. And we're using alcohol ink, and we have no bleeds. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And then you just set this aside to dry for a little while, and everything will be amazing. So that's the tape method for both ink blending as well as using it to do embossing mediums. And like with the Nuvo embellishing mousse and with glimmer paste and that kind of thing, these are both a lot thicker and they go on a lot easier. And again, I'll refer you back to my other video that I did on the embossing pastes for more information. Now I'm going to clean up real quick, and then we are going to take a look at adhesive alternatives for delicate stencils. Alright, so let's take a look at fancy stencils that are really, really delicate. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use mono multi, that when you put it on and let it dry, it dries temporary. And you can also do this with a two-way glue pen from Zig. And I'm only going to do part of this, but the idea is you go right up against the edges of where all the design is, especially in these delicate parts. And when this dries, it will be tacky. And it does take a minute, but you will get several uses out of it. Now you're saying, I'm going to put adhesive on the back of my stencil. Isn't that going to tear my paper? And what about when it starts getting dirty and nasty and gross and I need to replace it? So with this temporary adhesive like this, the one good thing, like I said, I'm not going to put it on all the way around. I'm just going to put it on part of it. So the one good thing about it being temporary is that it will come off really easily with a little bit of warm water and a fingertip brush. And if you don't have a fingertip brush, lay it flat down in your sink and use your finger over it in little circular motions and it will come off. So how do you know when this is dry? Well, for Zig two-way, it's when it's clear, it's supposed to be dry. I like to give it a few more minutes than that, and I also like to wave it back and forth, and you should be able to see the difference in the shine on it. You can barely see it, but you can see a little bit of it, and it's tacky. It's still tacky, and I'm going to make sure that it's good and dry before I put it on my paper, because I don't want it to stick to my paper. Make sure there's no blue at all on it. And then I'm going to take my cloth and I'm going to press it down over that adhesive part, and I'm going to pull it back off, and then I'm going to put my fingers over it a couple times. This is going to take the majority of the stick out of it, but still allow me to put it down on my paper and then it will come right off. So you can put it down on your paper, do your ink blending, and I'm going to hold this over here because I didn't put it on all of this, so I'll put it down here a whole lot. I don't have very much ink on here. But see how this isn't moving right here, and I didn't put any right here. And this is really, really important when you are doing really detailed stencils. So you can see the part right here where I added that adhesive. And now this is just lightly adhesive, just a really light adhesion on here. So you'd be able to use this a couple times before you'd have to rinse it off and add more adhesive back on it. But a two-way adhesive is a really, really good, so you don't get those bleeds under there. So Zig two-way glue and also Mono Multi are two really good adhesives to give you really great results for stencils. And that's all for today. There's no card. I just wanted to do a quick tip video and a quick tip blog post for my reader that had some questions about stencils. Y'all have a great day.